Okay, we are live. Welcome to Continue Freedom. And I just realized I forgot to unpin my old video from X. I was thinking about it right as I was coming in. Welcome, guys. Thank you all so much for joining me tonight. I truly appreciate it this evening. I'm going to give a quick shout out to a podcast I'm going to be doing later tonight. And it's one that I do every single Wednesday evening. Not every Wednesday. We try to do it most Wednesdays. But it's with Braver Than the Rest. And I would ask that you all come and join us on Braver Than the Rest. We're on X. We're on Facebook. We are on YouTube. So, yeah, definitely come and join us. But we've got a lot to talk about tonight, and I'm super excited. But while you're here, also hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, hit the like button, and this way you're notified every time a new video is released. It also helps if you share this content. It really helps if you share this content. So, look, DOGE, I've got to talk about DOGE again, and I know I've touched on it in the past couple of live streams that I've done. But this one in particular, and I got to start off with a little bit of Babylon Bee. Democrats warn Trump's unelected shadow government is, warned that Trump's unelected shadow government is dismantling their unelected shadow government. The Babylon Bee, as they typically do, knocked it out of the park. And this is what is coming out of all this DOGE USAID conundrum. And this one was funny. It was posted by Benny Johnson. He says, I'm howling with laughter. But Chuck Schumer says an unelected shadow government is conducting a hostile takeover of the federal government. And it was retweeted by Alex Soros. The unelected shadow government. Well, I guess he's the heir to the unelected shadow government. Oh, golly. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. It's silly. And this is what they're calling DOGE. This is what all of these people are calling DOGE. They're saying, oh, it's an unelected shadow government, and here's Alex Soros. He and his father have pumped boatloads of money into Democrat politics and into other countries. His dad has toppled countries and disrupted their economies by weakening the dollar and putting people into famine and all kinds of, I mean, the guy is a sinister character. He's trained his son to take the mantle, to pick up the torch, whatever, euphemism or saying you want an analogy you want to put at it. But anyway, this is Alex Soros. He's wielding his father's influence. This is something that's going to continue. But on our side, we are wielding something different, and that is accountability. Accountability is this is why the left is really doing cheetah flips over all of this. And I'm going to play Speaker Mike Johnson. And you guys know, if you've been watching me for a while, I have not been a huge fan of Mike Johnson. He is stepping in line, though. I can say that as Speaker of the House. I was all for McCarthy getting booted out. And when Mike Johnson came in and Mike Johnson didn't seem like he was, holding up his end of the bargain, I gave him the due criticism that he deserved. And now he's stepping in line because we do have a mandate. We've got the House, we've got the Senate, we've got the presidency, and he knows that we've got to get a lot done. But I'm not going to ramble anymore. Let's listen to him real quick.
Question, Chad. You know me. I'm a fierce advocate and defender of Article 1. I mean, look, we are the legislative branch. There's a reason the founding fathers put the Congress, the legislative branch, as the first article in the Constitution, and we're going to vigorously defend that. But what's happening right now, I think there's a gross overreaction in the media to what is happening. The executive branch of government in our system has the right to evaluate how executive branch agencies are operating and to ensure that not only the intent of Congress in funding mechanisms, but also the stewardship of precious American taxpayer dollars is being handled well. That's what they're doing by putting a pause on some of these agencies and by evaluating them, by doing these internal audits. That is a long overdue, much welcome development. That's what the American people demand and deserve. And that's what's happening. So we don't see this as a threat to Article 1 at all. We see this as an active, engaged, committed executive branch authority doing what the executive branch should do. They have broad discretion in all the funding, as you all know, because you follow this. When Congress funds an agency, they give broad discretion to the executive branch on how it's administered. They're using that authority right now in a way it hasn't been used in a long time, so it looks radical. It's not. I call it stewardship. I think they're doing right by the American taxpayer, and we support that principle. When it comes to the point of codification and legislation and all the rest, we'll be evaluating all those things. But right now, I think they're acting within the scope of their authority. There's be legal challenges. The courts will have some things to say about this. But as so far as I'm concerned, Chad, this is not a usurpation of authority in any way. It's not a power grab. I think they're doing what we've all expected and hoped and asked that they would do. For years, members of the legislative branch in Congress, Senate and House, have asked for details. They've asked for, the expenses of USAID. I mean, look, this is what was uncovered. 3 just quick examples. I mean, you tell me if this is unreasonable. Some of the stuff that the money was being spent on that we didn't even know. Crazy examples that came out. Look, $100 million on initiatives like expanding atheism in Nepal. That's what American taxpayers should be paying for? No way. Transgender operas in Colombia, drag shows in Ecuador? No way. The American people want us to, we have a $36 trillion federal debt. It is a serious threat to the future and security of our nation. We got to spend money better. And if this executive branch and this White House is going to take the initiative to dig in and find those details and expose them, we applaud it. We're all on board. Thanks.
There you go. This is accountability. We've been screaming, conservatives and Republicans alike have been screaming for accountability. And in fact, some Democrats have been screaming for accountability, fiscal accountability, although it's very few. It is very few folks on the left who say, oh, we want accountability. No, that's typically not the case. They just want more spending, more programs. And so, yeah, what DOGE is doing, people are, like he said, this is some of this stuff is going to get flushed out in the courts. And we know that I think it was Al Green. He's already filed impeachment, filed for impeachment against Trump, or is preparing to anyway. So there's going to be legal battles. There's going to be fights. But what I don't get is, why do we look at this and why would a Democrat look at this and say this is troubling? It's troubling that all of this is getting a bright light right on, like a spotlight right on all this government malfeasance, all this waste of our taxpayer dollars, of our hard-earned money. Why is that controversial? And they say, oh, well, I'll play some clips here in a minute of the left and how they're freaking out. But they're saying, Hakeem Jeffries came out and said, Elon Musk is trying to steal your money. And it's like, wait a second. The DOGE has read-only access to the Treasury system. They're not going in there and changing code. They are simply going in there, finding data, finding the troubling data, and they are releasing it to we the people. And they're taking it further than just USAID. Somebody, I forget who I was listening to, and they made a great point. So this was mine, is they said the very first rock that they turned over, they found USAID and billions of dollars in fraudulent spending. Billions in fraudulent spending. And as you saw in the headline, a lot of this fraudulent spending was going to fund media outlets. I mean, Operation Mockingbird, anybody? But we'll get into that. And so, Mike Johnson said that it's long overdue, and he's right. And so I like to go back in history, and this isn't too far back in history, but this is Reagan. And if you've watched any of the old Ronald Reagan clips, you've seen this sort of stuff. But I have to play this where this was kind of his thing, right? This was his pitch for all of his time in politics, especially since he became a Republican. And just listen to this.
Sometimes the big spenders in Congress talk as if all that money they spend just kind of magically appears on their doorstep, a gift from the Internal Revenue Service. They talk as if spending were all giving and no taking. Well, there is no magic money machine. Every dollar the government spends comes out of your pockets. Every dollar the government gives to someone has to first be taken away from someone else. So it's our moral duty to make sure that we can justify every one of your tax dollars, that we spend them wisely and carefully, and just as important, fairly.
Okay, I'm not going to play the full clip, but you get the idea. This was something when I was in active duty and I was responsible for big budgets. Big for me, right? It's not big as far as big Army goes, but when I get a few $1 million and I'm doing reconstruction projects in Iraq, as an example, we were always told, and it was part of our pitch was, we got to be good stewards of taxpayer dollars. That's one of our responsibilities. The government doesn't share that same burden. A monstrous bloated federal government is not currently sharing that same burden. In fact, they spend it so irresponsibly that it borders on fraud. And this is kind of what we're getting into, what we're learning. So Trump called out USAID. He said it, and he wants to know about the kickbacks. He says, what about the kickbacks? How is this money making its way back into the pockets of other politicians or other individuals? And it's a valid point. It's a good question to ask. But here's some sample funding abuse: the job opportunities for LGBTQ people in Serbia, we spent $1.5 million on that. Electric vehicles for Vietnam, $2.5 million. Helping migrants readjust to living in their own country, $3.2 million. Being LGBTQ in the Caribbean, $3.3 million. Promoting atheism in Nepal, $446,000. And these are the small ticket items, and there's big ticket items. People are starting to bring that out, but we look at it and say, okay, there's a whole lot. Let's go after the really, really big stuff. Well, these nitnoid little things, and of which there are thousands, tens of thousands, we have to go after that stuff as well. I'm going to play a couple more videos for you of people highlighting some of the nefarious stuff that was going on. Let's listen to this one real quick here. There we go.
Would like to answer this. Can you name some of these NGOs that have specifically taken these hundreds of millions of dollars and not used it to protect these children?
Catholic Charities, Lutheran Family Services, Jewish Family Services. I spoke to a gentleman that works in DHS. He actually sends the electronic fund transfers, and I asked him, sir, tell me who do you send, who are you responsible for, and how much is the largest check you cut? He said, I'm over Jewish Family Services, and I cut a check for $600 million. And I said, is that for like 3 years? And he told me, JJ, get in the game. That's 2 or 3 months, and it's renewable.
2 or 3 months, and it's renewable. You know, it reminds me of the first spending bill. One of my earliest videos was one of my first videos was about the COVID spending bill, and I was talking about the fraud, waste, and abuse that when I downloaded it, all 1,800 and some odd pages of it, and started reading through it, it was rampant, like keeping pension funds solvent at 80% for a certain number of years. It wasn't just the dollar amount where they say, oh, we got to spend $1 trillion or $1.5 trillion. No, this was money that they were committing over a long period of time. And that guy's highlighting one for one of the NGOs or one of the nonprofits that was supporting the southern border. And I brought up he said Lutheran Family Services, and I believe that was the same one that we're talking about. And that one got $170 million in government money to keep it operational. But excuse me. But the thing that has really taken off is the USAID. USAID funding media outlets, in particular Politico and BBC. Okie dokie, here we go. So Politico, total award amount, $8.1 million. And by the way, Politico, it has now been reported just in the past 24 hours that they missed payroll for the first time after this money was canceled. Politico is a left-wing media outlet. And this is why I said I think I put it in the description about Operation Mockingbird. And Operation Mockingbird was a CIA op during the Cold War. Some people think it's still going on or say that it's still going on. And they were basically swaying public opinion by pumping money into media outlets. Well, Politico is one of the ones that was, what's the way to put it? The reporting, it was with was it with FBI? I forget what it was, but they were the ones getting some of the leaked data. I'm not gonna say specifically because I can't remember now. It came to my head and then it left me. But it's not just Politico, but BBC. Why on earth are we funding BBC? How much of it? A huge swath. This blue section up here at the top, that up there is USAID funding of the BBC. Look, I'm sure the Brits are wonderful people, but I don't want to be given our hard-earned tax dollars, my money. It is my money. It is your money. I don't need to be giving it to the BBC. And we actually saw as well, Amazon Prime cancels Rings of Power Season 3 after USAID grant funding for, quote, increased racial diversity and LGBT representation amongst the people of Middle Earth gets axed by DOGE. So they bring this up. Hey, we're giving money to Amazon Prime for LGBTQ stuff, and they were relying on that money to keep their operation going. We don't need to be propping up movie companies, these production companies, production houses. We don't need to be keeping up Politico or BBC, or I don't care if it's CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, or Fox News. None of these people need to be getting our tax dollars. And that's why I'm on board when they talk about it, getting rid of public broadcasting and shutting that down as well. And they say, well, we're helping to heal these nations and heal these foreign lands and people in times of trouble. Well, here's Haiti. So over $4 billion went to Haiti, but Haiti only got 2% of that money. 2% went to Haiti. So they got a few million. They got 48.6 million has gone directly to Haitian organizations or firms, just over 2%. Comparatively, more than 1.2 billion has gone to firms located in DC, Maryland, or Virginia. So how are they spending it? Well, poorly. That's how they're spending it. And here you go. I'll blow it up so you can see it even closer. That little 2% is what goes down to Haiti to actually help support them. The rest is going to the blue goes to the Beltway, DC, so DC, Maryland, and Virginia. And then other organizations got 41.3% of that money. Just give accountability. Just give us accountability. That's what we're looking for. And that's why the freakouts from the left, which I'm going to show you a couple of them. I'm going to show you Hakeem Jeffries, as I promised. Although I guess I have to apologize too. I'll show it to you, but I'm sorry we got to listen to Hakeem Jeffries. But listen to this. Listen to how they are pitching this. And it's completely dishonest. It is a bold-faced lie to the American people. But check this out.
They've done nothing as it relates to lowering the high cost of living. At the same time, they are raiding the government, attempting to steal taxpayer money. That's what the situation at the Treasury Department is all about.
Bold-faced lie.
We will introduce the Stop the Steal Act in short order to prevent unlawful access with respect to the Department of Treasury's payment system connected to people who are trying to steal personal, sensitive, and confidential information.
No, we want that guy is very hard to listen to. And I'm fairly certain, you guys can let me know down in the comments, do you think the two of them crack a triple-digit IQ with the two of them on stage? Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries. Look, that's a bold-faced lie. Elon Musk, DOGE, as I said at the opening, they have read-only access into these systems. And everything that they are finding, they are posting on X. Elon Musk posts 1,000 times a day. I mean, it's something ridiculous. I don't know the exact number, but he is constantly posting. DOGE is constantly posting. And this information is making its way out to we the people for the first time. And this is not a level of scrutiny that politicians left and right are accustomed to, but it's one that they need to be accustomed to. And I think that even folks on the left could agree with that. So Hakeem Jeffries was angry. Chuck Schumer was livid. And of course, the left also, which we'll play in a minute, was out in front of I think they were out in front of the Treasury having one of their big hoopla shouting matches. But listen to Chuck Schumer talking about it.
And the American people, mark my words, the American people will not stand for an unelected, secret group to run rampant through the executive branch.
Secret?
Being innovative is good. But, Mr. Musk, this isn't a tech startup. These are public institutions that deal with things like Social Security and Medicare and national defense and provide for the well-being of the American people.
Exactly.
And the American people have a right to be part of that debate.
Which is what he is doing. They have a right to be part of that debate, but we don't want you looking at the things that will give them the information to be an informed member of that debate. We need to keep all that shut down. We can't let Elon Musk run roughshod through this computer system that's already found billions and billions of dollars in waste. Where's the
part of that debate? The elections occurred, and one viewpoint got a few more votes than the other, but that doesn't mean we throw out democracy.
We're a republic. Stop saying democracy. Democracy is it's not even in our Constitution. We are a republic, a constitutional representative republic, Mr. Schumer. But you see how they're freaking out about this? Like, I don't know. Does it give anybody, I don't know. What do you guys think of DOGE? I'd love to get it. Hit me up down in the comments. I want to know what you guys obviously I'm on board with it. I'm whooping and hollering about it and I'm amped up. And, you know, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, let's see, I can play Al Green, Ayanna Pressley, all of these folks. I'm going to play this one. Chuck Schumer this is how they respond. Oh, here we go.
Fight, and we will win. We will win. We will win. We will win. We will win.
It's so cringeworthy.
We won't rest. We won't rest.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, there you go. Chuck Schumer, he's whooping and hollering about that. Ayanna Pressley, she had some words. Ayanna Pressley, always a great place to get some, valuable data here.
Congress, in the streets, Elon Musk is a Nazi netball baby. A godless, lawless billionaire who no one elected. Elon, this is the American people. This is not your trashy Cybertruck that you can just dismantle, pick apart.
Okay, I can't tolerate it. I literally have like 10 videos here that I was going to show you guys, and I can't even get through all of them, but I'll show you the mashup. So the best mashup of all of this stuff was actually done by CNN. And so we gotta check that out, because even CNN was like, all right, this is getting silly, guys. We got to stop. Why is my link not working here? Let's see. Oh, here we go.
But listen to them today, and they have a piñata in search of a stick.
To our Republican colleagues, if you do not see the light, we will bring the fire.
Ooh.
Resist!
We are going to be in your face. We are going to be on your asses.
We have days to stop the destruction of our democracy. We have work to do. Tell Elon Musk to take his hands off your money. We don't pledge allegiance to the creepy 22-year-olds working for Elon Musk. We pledge allegiance to the United States of America.
And goddamn it, shut down the city! We are at war!
We will win. We will win.
We got to watch the CNN commentary too.
We won't rest.
Gretchen.
Yes, the Democrats need a real leader, okay? They need a real leader, which currently does not exist in the Democratic Party. And they have been caught completely flat-footed.
Okay, this is the point that I was making in my last live stream, actually. That this is true. They have been caught completely flat-footed. They either thought that he wasn't going to do it, or didn't take him seriously for the things he said he was going to do, or they just didn't know, which means if a lot of these executive actions that he's taken never made it out of his inner circle, he's got the right people on board because they're not leaking it. And Scott Jennings' reaction was like, can we watch it again? But this is true. They're desperate, and the only thing that they know to do is to get their little militant groups, Antifa and all that's probably going to eventually get involved, get them out into the streets, cause a big ruckus. And I will tell you that it's starting to get a bit serious. And this is, again, what I was talking about before. How can you have such a problem with Elon Musk giving transparency to the American people about how the government is spending their money? But this is an official, and yes, my name is Jared, but this is not me, obviously. Jared May. This guy works for, let me see, I forget who that was. Jared May is, and this was posted by Charlie Kirk. He's a Boston University employee. So Charlie Kirk actually posted this. And he's asking, essentially, for the unaliving of any of the folks helping Elon Musk, or of his DOGE employees. And these people are sleeping in the offices. They are brilliant. Some people have said that it's another group of autistic folks, but I don't know if that's the case. All I know is they're doing some amazing work. And these folks are grinding it out for we the people for no money. It's probably going to help their social media, and they'll get paid back for that. They have a desire to give transparency to the American people. And what does the Democrat Party do? What do their operatives do? They say, dead or alive, wanted for treason, and then they post their faces and try to dox them. This is the type of thing that we are up against, that Elon Musk is up against. And why? For accountability? Why would you fight so hard to spend the money that the government has, in my opinion, stolen from you, because taxation is theft, Why would you fight so hard to keep wasting money? Which is what Chuck Schumer is calling for, what Ayanna Pressley is calling for, what Al Green is calling for, what all the left is calling for, is stop giving us accountability. Let us keep wasting your money. It makes zero sense. But the upside is that it's not shutting Donald Trump down at all. At all. And in fact, Marco Rubio oversees missions to shut down on Friday. So they're like, okay, this is another government entity that is rotten to the core, and we're just going to stop it. We'll stop it, and if we need to start something back up later, that's fine. But you don't sit there for, say that you identify a, I'm trying to think of a good analogy, and I should have thought of one before I brought it up. But okay, well let's just put this into perspective. USAID is spending tens of billions of dollars a year, and you have no idea where any of it's going. Do you say, all right, let's just let them keep paying out all this money, and we'll go through, and as we find them, we'll pull them down? Or do you say, no, I don't want to waste any money. We know that these three little components are critical. Leave those running. Everything else is rotten with corruption, we think. If it's not, we'll hash that out later, but shut it down. So don't waste another penny of taxpayer money. That's how this should be handled, and this is how Donald Trump is handling it. And of course, as I said yesterday, Marco Rubio is going to take over as the head of USAID. So all overseas missions for USAID have been ordered to shut down, and nearly all staff at the agency will be placed on leave Friday night. This comes after Secretary of State Marco Rubio was made acting administrator of the agency. Multiple sources confirmed to CBS News the shutdown on overseas missions, and all staff on those missions will be recalled on Friday. Newly appointed Deputy Administrator for USAID, Pete Marocco, told State Department leadership on Tuesday that they need to get every USAID employee out of the countries they are currently in by Friday. Two sources familiar with the matter said Marocco told the State Department that if they could not achieve this, the staff would be evacuated by the military. Of USAID's more than 10,000 employees, around 2/3 of them serve overseas. So there's a 60, what would that be, a 66% cut to spending on these personnel, or whatever money they're spending overseas. They'll obviously keep their jobs for the foreseeable future, but they shut it all down. Yeah, that's how you handle that problem. I am all on board with it. With $36 trillion in debt, I'm all on board with whatever we have to do to cut government spending. And that's why I get so happy about this. I don't know. Do you guys get happy about seeing this budget just shrinking? About the federal budget shrinking? About these federal departments shrinking or plans to go away, like the Department of Education, which has been discussed. It's all over X, but the discussions have started. Do you guys approve of that? Because we've got to find a way to cut about $2 trillion, which is what we're overspending right now. And if we're making this type of progress in just a few weeks since Donald Trump took office, imagine what we can do in the next 2 years before the midterms. And hopefully in 4 years, if people see prosperity returning and they see government spending being drastically cut, some accountability being brought to lawmakers, I think that it's going to have a huge, a monstrous positive impact. And they're not stopping with just USAID. As I said, that's the first thing that they cracked open and said, whoa, okay, this is rotten to the core. But they're going after Medicare agencies, like their payment systems, to find the fraud in the system. This isn't, and the left will pitch this as they want to shut down Medicare. They want to shut down Medicaid. They want to shut down all of these government programs. And it's not, no, we just want to find the people who are misusing the system. Currently, there's no accountability. How about we apply a little bit of accountability to it? The fact that it's gotten this far is just, it's mind-boggling to me. It's mind-boggling. I knew it had to be there. I've witnessed fraud, waste, and abuse in my time, back in the day when I was doing the military thing. I've witnessed fraud, waste, and abuse. In fact, I think a lot of the 25-year war we were in was wrought with fraud, waste, and abuse. Even some at the low levels, but definitely at the high levels. We heard about the gas stations, the $20 million gas station or $1 billion gas station that never got built and that sort of thing. I'm amped up about it, guys. I really, really am. I love seeing this. I truly do. Okay, so this is the next one. This is something I have to be fair when I give criticisms to President Trump. And I'm not going to criticize too early because I don't know the details of this. It was kind of done in passing. But Donald Trump, President Trump, declares U.S. will, quote, take over the Gaza Strip. I was listening to the press conference. I actually watched this as it was happening. And when I heard it, I was like, did he just say what I think he just said? I'll play the video for you, but I even think that I don't know. He could not have warned Bibi Netanyahu about this. And I even think he was a little bit shocked, but let's listen to this.
U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it too. We'll own it.
I'm going to play that again because that was kind of quiet.
U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area. Do a real job.
Okay. You guys want to let me know what you think of that in the comments? I'm going to assume this is one of his big asks. You know, he'll come out with something big and then he falls back on something else, right? That's his negotiating point starts high and then it comes. I can't envision a scenario where it is beneficial for the U.S. to be in Gaza. I can't envision that being a positive thing in any way, shape, form, or fashion. And I have run that through my head 1,000 ways. If you've got a way that could be beneficial, you let me know. I don't know what it is. So I'm thinking that this is, just a big ask. He's coming out with some outlandish statement, and where he settles will be something, further back. And that people have talked about this in Gaza, where it's positioned, that it should be this beautiful place on, with high rises and resort spots on the beach, and they've just turned it into, Hamas has turned it into an absolute, garbage dump. And then the war, obviously, hasn't helped that at all either. But I have to be fair. When he says something like that, my antennas go up, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not okay with this. This I'm not okay with. We'll see what it turns into, but I'm just giving you guys an early heads up. This is something he said in front of Bibi Netanyahu, and when Bibi Netanyahu was asked about something, he kind of glossed over. He never really gave a solid response, at least none that I heard. Because if we end up doing something in Gaza, if we have troops in Gaza, that's aside from being bad juju, we better be glad that we're making our military recruiting numbers. And this was just reported. This is again by the Post Millennial, that the U.S. military shatters recruiting records following Trump election. Wow! So America's youth want to serve under the bold and strong American first leadership of that real Donald Trump. So says Pete Hegseth, who I'm a huge fan of, by the way. So Army officials announced Tuesday on social media that the branch had shattered previous recruiting records. December 2024 was the most active in 15 years, with almost 350 soldiers enlisting every day that month. Army recruiting officials wrote a post on X, quote, "Our recruiters have one of the toughest jobs, inspiring the next generation of soldiers to serve. Congratulations and keep up the great work." Well, this means that, what was the other part of it? It was in January. Let's see. In January 2025. Okay, let me reread this. December 2024, the Army had its best recruiting number in 12 years. In January 2025, the Army hit its best recruiting number in 15 years. Bottom line, America's youth want to serve under the bold and strong America first leadership of that real Donald Trump. That's the full tweet from Pete Hegseth. That's a pretty remarkable thing. It's pretty remarkable that we're hitting those numbers. That was actually my last job on active duty, was a recruiting commander. I wanted a second command, and I was like, I'll take a recruiting command, and I did not enjoy it. I really did not enjoy it. But that was my experience. Some people did it, and they loved it, and that's great. But according to military.com, the service has already reached the halfway mark towards its ambitious goal of bringing in 61,000 active duty soldiers in this fiscal year, which began in October. That's pretty impressive. So they're already getting ahead of the game. And we're only, they started in October and we're in February. That's pretty legit. November, December, January, February. Yeah. So we're 4 months in. We're about to our halfway mark. Leadership matters. If people felt like they were coming into the woke world of the military, obviously that hurts. And the places where you're getting a lot of your recruits, the bulk of your recruits, at least provided numbers are still the same, is from the South. You're getting them from Texas and move Texas and east. And you as you start getting up towards New York and New Jersey and in parts of California, it's very, very difficult to recruit folks, or it used to be. Those things that could be changing. If you're somebody out there in USAREC, definitely let me know. But it's a positive thing that we're hitting those marks. And it is because of leadership. It's absolutely because of leadership. So the last thing that I'm going to talk about, oh boy, Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi, who is a firecracker, just like our new White House press secretary, who is awesome. I was watching her press conference today, and the lady's she's so legit. For being 27 years old, it's so impressive. But listen to what Pam Bondi says.
Was on the plane, not only on the plane a couple times, multiple times. He traveled internationally with Jeffrey Epstein, and he was on the plane called the Lolita Express because it supposedly had a bed in there where Jeffrey Epstein had young girls. He has been a friend of his, a continuing friend of his for years and years. Contrast that with Donald Trump, who hasn't spoken to him in many years, over a decade, after he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago for bad behavior. So that's the difference there. And I think Americans see the two-tier justice system. But, we don't know. They're saying Clinton has not been to his private island, but he has traveled all over the world with Jeffrey Epstein. I want to know why AG Garland and the Justice Department are so quiet on this tonight. They're out there labeling parents domestic terrorists, yet they're saying nothing about this. And these documents were so slow to come out. Human trafficking is a multi-billion-dollar business in this country, and Jeffrey Epstein is dead, and Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison for 20 years where she belongs. And if people in that report are still fighting to keep their names private, Sean, they have no legal basis to do so unless they're a child, a victim, or a cooperating defendant by some chance against some potential case against Ghislaine Maxwell. And I think Mark Garagos, as a great criminal defense attorney, will back that up as well.
We want cash. We want cash. All this stuff has got to come out. All of this stuff has got to come out. And she's saying, if it comes across her desk, she's okay with it. Yeah, that's right. If you were involved in this criminal enterprise, the one that was one of the most significant trafficking rings that I'm aware of, with these elite individuals, and yet nobody ever went to prison for it. Nobody ever went to, Ghislaine Maxwell did, but it's like the meme that shows up, this massive human trafficking ring that Ghislaine Maxwell was put in prison for, that trafficked to no one, apparently, because nobody has ever gone to prison for it. She went to prison for trafficking, but she didn't traffic to anybody. No. That book exists somewhere, and my hope is that the FBI has their hands on it, and as soon as Kash Patel gets his hands on it, boom, release that list. Because if you were part of this criminal activity, you have no legal right to privacy for that. You do if you're a victim, or if you're a cooperating witness, you strike up a deal. Outside of that, no. No. So I can't wait for that to happen. All right, guys, that was all I got. I got through it a lot faster than I thought I was going to. If you're still on board with me right now, I want you to make sure to go, if you are on YouTube or Rumble, go to Braver Than the Rest. I will be live tonight at 9 p.m. with Braver Than the Rest. It's a conversation. It's with my buddy Jeremy, with my buddy Ben. We're going to sit down and chit-chat about some of this stuff. They'll bring some of their own stuff. It's a great conversation. It's a lot of fun, which is why I do it every single Wednesday, but I would love for you guys to join us there as well. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe, hit that like button, hit the notification bell, and share this content. It helps us get outside of the YouTube algorithm. I love you guys. I'm so appreciative for all my loyal followers. And you know what? I will see you tomorrow in the live stream. God bless you. God bless America.